Discover the incredible journey of a homeless girl who transformed a billionaire's life forever. Emma stood under the city's bright lights, her heart a kaleidoscope of dreams and grit. The streets were always bustling, but in that moment, she felt like she was dancing on a stage all her own. With her messy hair and paint-splattered clothes, she didn't blend in, but her laughter rang out like music, pulling at the hearts of those who passed. She didn't have much space to call her own, just a small tent in a crowded park, but Emma wore her optimism like armor. Every morning, she'd rise early to gather with her friends, other kids living without homes, all of them laughing and dreaming beneath the big, Midwestern sky. They shared stories of hope and resilience that echoed off the city buildings. "We're not down and out, we're just on a different adventure." She'd beam with a smile that could light up the grayest days. They rallied together, feeling like champions, even against their struggles. That night, at the community charity event filled with rich velvet and polished smiles, Emma caught sight of him, Michael, the billionaire whose name was often in the headlines. He towered among the crowd, his tailored suit almost glimmering, but there was a shadow behind his eyes. He turned, and for a moment, he locked eyes with Emma. Something shifted. She felt an electric connection, a flicker of understanding. "Emma." A friend called, pulling her back to the moment. They moved closer to the stage where Emma's thoughts bubbled up. Here was her chance to speak, to let her voice be heard. "We're not just numbers. We're people. We dream. We deserve better." The crowd listened, captivated by her fierce spirit. But Michael felt something deeper. Her words pricked at his heart, waking something he thought had long lain dormant. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As her words resonated throughout the room, Michael felt his isolation seep away. Here was a girl with fire and a heart so big it could fill the emptiness of his wealth. They connected in moments, sharing laughter over pizza slices, Emma showing him a world unseen, opening his eyes to the struggles of countless people. But soon enough, Emma's life took a dive. A call came through that shattered her spirit. Her mother was in the hospital. Fear gripped Emma like a vice. The strong and vibrant girl began to tremble, her laughter fading, replaced by an almost haunting silence. Michael watched, helpless. Realizations hit him hard. Could a billionaire truly understand what it meant to struggle, to lose the very thing that rooted them? And as whispers of a scandal mingled in the crowd, Emma and Michael found themselves standing on a precipice. The world around them was ready to crumble, but could they rise from the ashes together? Emma's dreams flickered like a candle. Michael felt his deeply buried desires rise to the surface. The warmth of their budding friendship glowed still, but the darkness pressed in. What path would they choose? How could they fight something bigger than themselves? The city was alive with chaos and noise, but for Emma, it felt like the world had dimmed. The hospital room was starkly different from the vibrant park where she had spun dreams into the warm air. Here, with sterile walls and the beeping of machines, her spirit felt crushed. Michael stood beside her, his tall frame seemingly out of sync with the heavy sorrow enveloping them. He wasn't used to being in a place like this, felt out of place among the hospital's smells that seemed foreign and unwelcoming. He glanced over at Emma, her hands wringing together, worry etched tightly in her brow. "Emma," he began, unsure of what comfort to offer. The words hung in the air, as fragile as a whisper. She looked up, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "She's always been there for me," Emma breathed, her voice trembling. "Every time I needed her, she was my rock. I don't know what I'll do without her." Michael's heart ached for her. The foundation of her world was crumbling, and he felt helpless standing by. He remembered how she had brought color into the monochrome of his life, how her laughter filled the emptiness of his exceedingly wealthy existence. "Emma, we'll figure this out together," he said, feeling the weight of the promise. Together, she echoed, though doubt flickered in her eyes. They shared a moment of silence, the weight of it pressing in, until the door creaked open. A doctor stepped in, wearing a heavy expression and the air thick with gravity. "She is stable but in critical condition," the doctor informed, his voice subdued. "We need to keep monitoring her closely." Emma clenched her fists. She nodded, but inside, despair threatened to swallow her whole. The doctor's words echoed as she tried to process them. Stable. Critical condition. Michael shifted closer, feeling the panic spilling from her. "What do you need?" His voice was steady. "What can I do?" "The bills, they just keep piling up," she whispered, the pressure of reality crashing down. It was the haunting truth for many, but it struck different now. "What if I helped with that?" he suggested, the idea spilling from his lips before considering the implications. "I can't just stand by." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "You would do that?" His identity as a billionaire was now a shield, glinting in the face of her reality. For the first time, his wealth had a purpose that extended beyond himself, beyond the high rises and endless meetings that felt increasingly meaningless. "Yes," he said, determination coursing through him. "Let me help." But just as hope began to flicker around them, a loud commotion erupted outside. A crowd had gathered, news flashing through the room like wildfire. Whispers of a scandal involving Michael's company erupted, casting a shadow that threatened to engulf them both. Emma's heart raced. "This isn't the time, not now," she whispered, panic rising in her chest. He turned to her, seriousness igniting in his gaze. "Whatever happens, I'm here for you." "This is bigger than the scandal," he said firmly. Emma clutched his hand, feeling the heat of his resolve, but the storm brewing outside the walls was growing. The ties that bound them were pushed to their limits. What would they face next? Would they risk everything to support each other in a world swinging between hope and despair? And as doubts clouded her mind, Emma whispered, "Can we really fight this together?" The air grew thick with tension, tightening around them like a vice. Outside the door, voices rose and fell in a chaotic rhythm. Panic spread like a wildfire in Emma's chest. She could feel the uncertainty pooling in her stomach, mixing with the fear of losing the one person who had always been there for her. "Emma, focus on what's in front of us," Michael said, his grip firm on her hand. "We can't control what's happening out there. We have to deal with this first." She nodded, though her mind was a flurry of chaotic thoughts. How could she let him step into her world when his was crashing down? But there was a flicker of something deeper in Michael's eyes, a promise of loyalty that made her pulse quicken. "Tell me what you need," he urged, pulling her attention back from the warring factions of her emotions. "I don't know, I just feel so lost," she admitted, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I can't lose her, Michael. Not like this." In that moment, Michael's heart broke for her more than it ever had. He had faced boardroom battles and financial crises, but standing there, helpless in front of the woman he cared about, brought a different kind of pain. "Let us take it one step at a time," he suggested softly. "Is there someone else we can call? Family? Friends?" Emma shook her head, fresh tears brimming in her eyes. The silence of the hospital was deafening, and all she could hear was the rhythm of the machines, each beep like a countdown. "So it's just us," she whispered, her vulnerability laying bare all the fears she harbored. Michael knew he had to shift the momentum. "Okay, then let us be in this together. You're not alone, Emma." As the headlines of Michael's scandal raced across the news, a nurse entered, breaking the thick tension. She smiled gently, as if sensing the weight on their shoulders. "Your mother is still stable, we haven't lost her. But she will need support today." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Can I see her?" "Of course." "Just for a few minutes," the nurse replied, her demeanor soothing. With a small nod, Emma glanced up at Michael. "Will you come with me?" The question hung heavy in the air. A part of her wanted the comfort of his presence, while another worried it might draw him further into her chaotic life. "Always," he responded simply, his voice steady. As they stepped into the room together, the the sight of her mother lying still brought a fresh wave of pain. Emma's heart raced, thoughts colliding in her mind. What if this was the last time she saw her? Would her mother even recognize her? Michael stood by the door, giving her space but close enough to feel that sense of support. Emma leaned down, holding her mother's hand, the warmth still lingering there. "Please, Mom, just hold on." And as she spoke to her, she felt a sense of determination surge within her. Even with the whispers of Michael's scandal looming outside, she had to keep hope alive. She had to fight. But could they really withstand the storm outside? When the door swung open again, a familiar face stepped in. It was her childhood friend, Sarah, with concern etched deep in her brows. "Emma. What is going on?" The sudden appearance felt like an intrusion, but it also ignited something deep inside Emma, a flicker of connection that seemed to elude her in the starkness of the hospital. And before she could explain, the plot thickened as Michael's phone buzzed incessantly in his pocket, a reminder that the world just outside the walls continued to churn with chaos and scandal. He glanced at the screen, torn between the urgent demands of his reality and the tender moment unfolding before him. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, breaking a silence teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Emma looked from her friend to Michael, emotions swirling violently. "I don't know if I can handle all this." But above the hum of machines and swirling chaos, a deeper realization clung to Emma's heart. If they were going to confront the battles ahead, it meant unmasking truths she had kept hidden even from herself. "Can we face it together?" she finally asked, her voice steady, yet trembling with fear and resolve. And amid their stories woven into the fabric of this chaotic moment, Emma knew this was just the beginning. But were their connections strong enough to endure the unrelenting storm? Emma took a deep breath, trying to steady herself as she looked between Sarah and Michael. Each of them held her gaze, offering unspoken support, yet the weight of uncertainty still pressed heavily on her chest. "What's happening with your mom?" Sarah asked, her voice softening as she stepped closer. Emma hesitated, the reality of her mother's condition, a stubborn truth she didn't want to face, flooding back. "She's in critical condition. I don't know what is going to happen next." The tears she had swallowed surged to the surface again, and she felt Michael's hand squeeze her own tightly. For a moment, the chaos of the world outside faded. It was just the three of them, encased in a bubble of shared pain, reaching for a sliver of hope. But Emma felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter at the slightest touch. "Emma, it's okay to be scared," Sarah said, her eyes shining with sincerity. "But you're not alone. You have us. We can figure this out together," Michael added, his steady tone anchoring her. Taking a shuddering breath, Emma looked down at her mother, whose face was so still, so vulnerable. What if she doesn't wake up? What if? Her voice trailed off, the thought too painful to articulate. "No more what ifs," Michael said gently. "What can we do right now? What do we need to focus on?" The urgency in his voice broke through her despair. She had to reclaim control, even with their world ablaze outside. I want to talk to her, to tell her I love her." "Let us do that," Sarah encouraged, inching closer, wrapping her arm around Emma's shoulders. "You can speak for her, even if she can't respond." Emma nodded, bolstered by their unwavering presence. "Okay," she whispered, "I'll talk to her." She turned back to her mother, forcing herself to push through the feelings of helplessness. "Mom, it's me, Emma," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I'm here. I just want you to know how much I love you, how much you mean to me." As she spoke, she thought back to all the times her mother had been her rock, cheering at school events, guiding her through heartbreaks, and sharing laughter over late-night ice cream. Every memory was a thread pulling her tighter into the fabric of familial love. But just as she felt something flicker inside her, Michael's phone buzzed again, loud and insistent. She glanced at him, and he looked torn, his brow furrowing as he stared at the screen. "I need to take this," he said reluctantly, his fingers dancing over the screen for a moment before he stepped out of the room. Emma felt a small pang of loss at the separation, but then Sarah squeezed her tighter. He's just trying to handle his stuff. Focus on your mom. The atmosphere shifted, wrapping them in a blanket of muted urgency. Emma wiped her tears and focused solely on her mother's still figure. We have so much to do together, Mom, she continued, her voice thick but determined. I don't want to lose this battle. I need you to fight. For me, please. As if the universe was listening, a weak twitch moved across her mother's lips. Emma blinked, her heart leaping. Was it a sign? An answer to her desperate pleadings? Did you see that? She cried, turning quickly to Sarah, who nodded with wide eyes. Maybe she can hear you, Sarah's voice faltered, filled with hope. But before Emma could dwell on the moment, Michael re-entered, a furrow of worry etched on his face. I'm sorry, I just Emma interrupted, her heart racing, recognizing the profound sense of significance pulsing in the air. Mom, just did something. I think she heard me. Michael's face softened, and for a brief moment, the noise outside, the whispers of scandal, and the burdens of the world fell away. In that fleeting heartbeat, they stood united, three souls tethered by love and resilience. But just as the semblance of hope wrapped around them, the door burst open, and a new, unexpected visitor arrived, shattering their fragile moment. And as Emma turned to see who entered, her heart raced with uncertainty. Was this person a friend or a foe? Would this new twist strengthen their bond or threaten to unravel everything they had just started to rebuild? Emma's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the figure stepping through the doorway. It was her estranged Aunt Clara, a woman she hadn't seen in years. The strained family dynamics had pulled them apart, but now here she was, looking both concerned and bewildered. What are you doing here? Emma managed, emotions flooding over her like a broken dam. The last time she heard her aunt's voice, it had been steeped in criticism and blame rather than comfort. I heard about your mom, Clara replied, her voice shaky. I wanted to check on you, both of you. Oh, great, Emma thought, feeling resentment bubble up inside her. Why now? Why when everything felt so precarious? Michael and Sarah exchanged glances, sensing the tension thickening the air. Clara hesitated, standing on the threshold like a shadow reluctant to step into the light. Maybe this is a chance for mending, Sarah whispered to Emma, her eyes wide with concern and hope. You could use support, right? Emma turned her head away, her mind racing. Support? From this woman who had walked out of their lives during the toughest times? Come in, Clara, Michael said at last, breaking through Emma's inner turmoil. We can use all the hands we can get. Reluctantly, Clara stepped inside, her eyes locking on Emma's mother. The sight of her sister, frail and silent, seemed to drain the color from her face. Emma, Clara said, her voice wavering, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I should have been here. Emma unfolded her arms, feeling the walls begin to quiver. At that moment, she craved understanding, not judgment, and maybe just maybe a hint of reconciliation. Clara's gaze softened, reflecting sorrow and a glimmer of regret. Mom fought for us all, Clara, Emma said, her voice rising. She did everything she could. Where were you when we needed you? The accusation hung thick in the air, fighting the despair tightening her throat. Emma felt the need to express herself, her anger woven into a tapestry of longing for the family she once knew. Clara looked down, defeated, guilt etched on her face. I made mistakes, and I know that, Clara said quietly. But I'm here now. I want to help. As the words settled, Emma felt her resolve waver. The room was charged with unspoken history and the possibility for a fresh start. I don't know if I can believe that, Emma admitted, her heart racing. Clara took a step closer, her arms stretched outward. Just give me a chance. I'll prove it. For your mom. In that moment, something shifted. The flicker of hope wasn't just Emma's, it was shared among all four of them, each stuck in their separate pain. Suddenly, the heart monitor began to beep rapidly, breaking the fragile silence. Emma's attention snapped toward her mother, whose breathing had changed. Panic shot through her veins as she rushed to her side. Mom? Michael and Sarah jumped into action, while Clara, standing behind them, covered her mouth in shock. Time seemed to stretch as they all leaned forward, waiting for a sign. Fingers trembling, Emma grasped her mother's hand, willing her to respond. Please, Mom. Fight for us. Just then, as if in synchrony with her plea, her mother's eyelids fluttered. Emma's breath hitched, hope swirling through her chest, but before she could fully register it, the monitor emitted a menacing flatline tone. No! Emma shouted, her heart plummeting. As chaos erupted around her, the weight of fear threatened to suffocate her. Would her mother really pull through, or was this goodbye? And amid that whirlwind, Clara stepped forward, determination glinting in her eyes. Let me help, she said, her voice steady. Could a distant aunt really make a difference in this turmoil? Emma's heart raced within the storm of uncertainty, caught between long-buried resentment and a desperate need for healing. As she looked at her mother's pale face, she wondered, would hope spring anew from this darkest hour? The chaos settled into an unsettling hush. Emma's mother lay still, the rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor replaced by a dreadful silence. It felt as if the air had turned to lead, weighing down on everyone in the room. No, 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 Emma said, her voice breaking. She trembled, unable to take her eyes off her mother's lifeless form. Panic coursed through her veins, cold and sharp, rushing to fill the spaces where hope once resided. Mom. Please. Michael's hand found her shoulder, steadying her. Emma, we need to do something, he said urgently. Clara, what do we do? Clara swiftly moved to the side of the bed, her face a mixture of determination and fear. We need to call for help now. Emma, stay with her. Emma didn't move, she felt frozen, her heart locked in a desperate hope that her mother might still respond. Mom, please open your eyes. Come back to me. Emma, listen to me, Clara said, her voice breaking through the fog of panic. We need to keep her calm. You can do this. Just hold her hand and talk to her. The nurse appeared, her demeanor professional yet gentle. She quickly assessed the situation, calling for doctors and equipment with an efficiency that pushed Emma to the edge of despair. Mom, I need you. Emma cried, squeezing her mother's hand tightly, desperate for any response. You can't leave us. Not now, not when we're trying to put this family back together. A flicker of movement. Clara, standing by Emma's side, touched her arm gently. Talk about the good times, Emma. Remind her why she should fight. Despite the choking fear, words came rushing out. Remember the road trips, Mom? The time we got lost but ended up finding that amazing ice cream shop. You laughed so hard. And you took a million photos of us just being silly in the back seat. Michael moved to the other side, sharing in the moment, his voice soft yet firm. And when we built that treehouse? You made us believe it was the coolest place in the world. There was silence, but the heaviness began to lift. The memories hung in the air, brightening the dimness with every word. Sarah leaned in, her voice trembling as she added her own recollection, weaving their shared past into the fragile tapestry of the present. And then, just like that, a heartbeat broke through the stillness, a steady, hopeful rhythm returning to the monitor. Emma's breath hitched, relief flooding over her in waves. Look! She's fighting. Sarah exclaimed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Clara, now tearing up, squeezed Emma's shoulder. She can feel you. She's fighting for you just as you're fighting for her. Hope surged through Emma as she continued her plea. Mom, please keep holding on. You have so much to fight for. We need you more than ever. Just then, the room filled with the swift arrival of doctors and nurses, ready to take charge. They pushed past the family, surrounded the bed, and began their work. Each shout and instruction from the medical team created a whirlpool of activity, but Emma felt a strange sense of calm amid the chaos. Then she turned to Clara. Why are you really here? The question slipped out, vulnerable yet necessary, filling the space between them with an unexpected tension. Clara stammered, taken aback. I wanted to make things right. I was wrong for leaving. I thought you all would be okay. Okay? Emma replied, the fire of anger combined with the relief still coursing through her. You're missing the point. We weren't okay, and I think deep down, you know that. Before Clara could respond, the lead doctor lifted his head and caught Emma's eye. We've stabilized her for now. We need to continue monitoring, but she's a fighter. The weight of those words settled nicely over the gnawing uncertainty. Emma nodded slowly, trying to wrap her mind around the fact that they still had her mother. As the doctors worked, a question stung in the back of Emma's mind. Could she really trust Clara? Was this a second chance for both of them? Or just another moment of false hope? The room, filled with uncertainty and fragile hope, lent itself to more questions than answers. Emma looked at Clara, then to her mother. Would they be able to heal as one family again? Little did Emma know, this was just the beginning of a journey that could either pull them closer or tear them apart even further. The tension in the room swirled like the chill that often precedes a storm. Emma shifted her gaze between her mother's still form and Clara, the air thick with unspoken words. Hope flickered, fragile yet bright, yet the shadows of doubt clung stubbornly. Can we talk? Just us? Emma said, her voice trembling but firm, as she pulled Clara slightly out of the chaotic orbit of nurses and doctors rushing around them. She needed answers, and she needed them fast. Clara's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and understanding passing between them. Of course, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. They moved to a quieter corner of the room, the sound of urgent medical chatter fading momentarily into the background. I don't know if I can believe you, Emma said, her heart racing. You walked away, Clara. You chose to leave us when we needed you most. How do I know you won't do it again? Clara opened her mouth, the words sticking momentarily in her throat. She looked away, shoulders slumping under the weight of regret. I didn't think it would get this bad. I thought you all would heal and move on without me, she admitted, her eyes glistening. So, you just left? Emma asked, hurt slicing through her. What did you think would happen to us? I thought I was protecting you all, Clara said, louder now, the emotion bubbling to the surface. Sometimes, love feels messy. I thought you'd be okay without my baggage dragging you down. Emma's breath left her in a rush. Our family fell apart, Clara. Your absence only made it worse. The weight of their shared history hung heavily in the air, but beneath it all, Emma sensed a flicker of something different, a chance for understanding. Look, she pressed on, softer now, things are messy right now. We can't just pretend everything is fine because you're back. I need to know you're really here for us. I am, Clara said, earnestness filling her eyes. I know I have to earn your trust again. But I want to fight for my place. For all of us. Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside the room, pulling their focus. Michael darted to the window and peered outside. What was that? He asked, his brow furrowing. Emma's stomach twisted. The sound rattled the fragile sense of hope she had clung to moments before. But then, amidst the uncertainty, she thought of her mother. Her heart was still beating, steady now, thanks to the team surrounding her. Maybe, just maybe, this was a time to mend things. Maybe we all need to face things together, Emma said, a new resolve flooding through her. Mom could miss us arguing over whether or not to let Clara back in. It's not just your fight, it's ours. Clara nodded, her expression shifting from a shadow of guilt to a glimmer of hope. As their conversation ended, the lead doctor approached them again, face serious but softened by a hint of encouragement. We need to keep monitoring her closely, but she's responding well. We're hopeful, he said, his eyes scanning their faces. Just then, Emma felt a tremor in her own heart. Amidst the turmoil, there was a new direction waiting for them all. What if we took this one day at a time? She suggested, both to herself and Clara, but before Clara could respond, an unexpected cry erupted from the hallway. A frightened little girl's sobbing echoed, piercing through the heaviness in the air. Emma's instinct kicked in. "I'll be right back," she said, heading toward the sound, Clara following closely behind. As they entered the hallway, the little girl clutched a worn teddy bear, tears streaming down her little face. "I can't find my mommy," she wailed. The sight hit Emma squarely in the heart. Would her family come together or splinter apart even more in a time like this? With Clara at her side, she knelt beside the girl, whispering, "It's okay. We'll help you find her." Emma's own fears transformed into a spark of bravery. How could she help heal, not only her family but others in need? Little did she know, their encounter would lead to an unexpected twist, one that might change everything for her and Clara, calling into question what they really wanted. Emma knelt down to the little girl, not knowing the heat rising in her heart was a direct reaction to the child's pain. She reached out, gently brushing a stray tear from the girl's cheek. "What is your name?" she asked softly, trying to match her voice with the calmness she wished she felt inside. "Lily," the girl sniffled, her tiny hands clutching her teddy bear tightly. "I lost her. I don't know where she went." "We'll find your mommy, Lily," Emma assured her, feeling a sense of determination settle in. She glanced back at Clara, who stood a few steps away, visibly shaken by the situation. Clara stepped forward, her own maternal instincts ignited. "Lily, how about you tell us what your mommy looks like? We can look for her together," she suggested, crouching down to be on the same level. The little girl's eyes brightened a fraction, as hope began to seep in. "She has brown hair and a pink coat. She was here just a minute ago." Between the cries in the hallway, Emma caught snippets of other families in distress, hearts intertwining in shared fear. Despite her own worries for her mother, something deep compelled her to focus on Lily. "Okay, let us retrace your steps. Was she here with you when you were playing or in the waiting area?" "She was standing next to the big picture." Lily pointed, her voice quivering. "I was playing with my bear." "Let us go check that out," Clara replied, determination wrapping her words like a warm blanket around the girl. Emma nodded, rising with a sense of purpose. She took Lily's little hand in hers, a small gesture yet full of promise. They headed toward the waiting area where a colorful painting adorned the wall. As they walked, Emma's thoughts flickered between the pain of her own life and the yearning to help someone else's. Clara scanned the area, her gaze sweeping over worried faces. "I'll look around here," she said as they paused near the painting. Emma stayed close to Lily, squatting down so they were eye to eye. "Why don't you take a deep breath for me?" she whispered, mimicking the calming yoga she used to do with her mom. "Can you show me how your mommy makes you feel safe?" Lily looked contemplative, and Emma's heart twisted at the sight of a child so small carrying such a heavy burden. "She hugs me really tight," Lily said, squeezing her teddy closer. "And how does that feel?" Emma asked, eager to dive deeper into that simple comfort. "Like I can do anything." Lily beamed, a smile breaking through her tears. In that moment, Emma felt an unexpected connection to Lily and, oddly enough, to herself. Life had a way of spinning out of control, yet there were those fleeting seconds like a hug from a mom that anchored you, that reminded you of the love that persisted even amidst chaos. "I know what you mean," Emma said gently. "We'll find your mommy, and then you can show her how brave you are." The words felt like a promise, a tether tying their stories together against the storm. As Clara approached, shaking her head to signal not here, Emma felt a surge of urgency. "Let us try the entrance. Maybe she's looking for you there." Lily nodded, her expression shifting from despair to determination. Together, they began to move, a trio with a shared mission, but just then, the hospital doors swung open with a loud bang, startling everyone in the vicinity. The air crackled with panic as a group of new arrivals rushed in, faces flushed and anxious. Among them, one stood out, a woman with frantic eyes scanning the room, searching desperately. Emma's heart skipped a beat. The moment of connection was shifting once again, and she had a feeling this wasn't the end of their journey. What would this mean for them all? Emma's breath caught in her throat as she watched the woman push her way through the crowd, eyes darting frantically. Her heart raced not just out of fear for Lily but an all-too-familiar flutter of instinct. This woman might be the answer they needed. "Lily." Emma's voice broke through the chaos. Look. Is that your mommy? Lily turned, her little eyes wide with hope, and the moment seemed to hang in the air. The woman's gaze locked onto Lily, and for the first time, she could see a spark of recognition. The frantic energy of the hospital faded for Emma, leaving only the connection that hung between them. Mommy. Lily squeaked, her voice a fragile whisper filled with disbelief. The woman dropped her purse and rushed forward, her arms opening wide. Lily. Oh my God. The relief in her voice melted into tears as she knelt down to embrace her child. The world around them faded, leaving nothing but the tender moment of reunion. Emma knelt down too, feeling a mix of elation and melancholy as she watched. The warmth of their embrace filled the air, reminding her of her own mother. Suddenly, her pulse quickened at the thought of her. She knew she should be feeling the same level of joy for herself, but something felt off. The hug Lily received was everything she longed for, and as much as she celebrated the reunion, she was reminded of her own loss. Clara stepped closer, standing guard over them, a quiet support in that moment. Do you want me to help you get her settled? She asked the woman gently, knowing how overwhelming this reunion must be after the chaos. The mother nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks, relief and exhaustion etched across her face. Thank you, I thought I lost her forever. The emotion of it all seemed to paralyze her, leaving her quivering in place. Emma felt the urge to give them space, yet her heart ached with curiosity. What happened? She asked softly, her voice almost drowned out by the ebb and flow of the hospital's noise. Just a moment, the mother stammered, wiping her eyes. I turned around to look for something. And when I turned back she was gone. I'm so glad she found you, Emma said, offering a reassuring smile. The connection she felt when Lily spoke of her mother's hugs echoed in her chest. Maybe in helping them, she could find a piece of her own comfort. As the mother finally pulled away from Lily, she looked at Emma, gratitude shining in her gaze. I can't thank you enough. I thought I'd never see her again. Emma simply nodded, the weight of their shared experience carving a place in her heart. But her thoughts were interrupted as a voice broke through the chaos once again. Luke, the hospital intern who always had a calm demeanor amidst distress, entered the waiting area. His face was drawn, yet determined. There's been an incident in the ER, he announced, urgency threading through his words. We need all hands on deck. Emma's stomach twisted. She felt the ground shift beneath her as the specter of another crisis loomed. Clara, what do we do? She whispered, glancing back at Lily, who now whimpered softly in her mother's arms. We help. Clara said firmly. We keep moving, Emma. And right then, Emma knew this was only the beginning. They were all intertwined in a complicated tapestry of hope, fear, and resilience. Every heartbeat echoed a new story waiting to unfold. As the trio prepared to guide the mother and daughter away from chaos, Emma felt that familiar twinge of urgency within her. There was still so much they didn't understand, and with every passing moment, they were on the brink of unraveling something far more profound than just a lost child and a frantic mother. What awaited them in the depths of the hospital? Would it bring healing or sorrow? Emma could hardly breathe at the thought. Emma steadied herself, the chaos of the hospital swirling around her like a relentless breeze, but amidst it all, a flicker of determination ignited within her. She grasped Clara's hand tightly, drawing strength from both her aunt and Lily's reunion. Let us keep moving, Emma said, her voice filled with purpose. We've come this far, we can't just stop now. They navigated through the building, weaving around staff and patients. Clara held Lily close, whispering comforting words as they went. Emma's heart raced, the mystery of their journey ahead as daunting as the fears that still threatened to consume her. But she felt an unexpected rush of exhilaration. Together, they were strong. Finally, they reached the ER, a whirlwind of doctors and nurses attending to the urgency that had drawn everyone's attention. Emma's breath caught when she noticed a familiar figure standing at the center of the chaos. It was Michael, his brow furrowed, deep in conversation with an older doctor. Their eyes met, and a flicker of relief washed over her. He turned, sensing her presence, and his expression softened. Emma. I'm so glad you're okay. His voice, steady and reassuring, grounded her amid the whirlwind. "Michael, what's happening?" she asked, her voice barely rising above the frenzy surrounding them. "A tough night. We're trying to stabilize a few patients." "It's critical," he replied, then glanced down at Lily, who had pressed close to Clara. "You too? Looks like you found a little one." "Yeah, she was lost," Emma explained, heart still racing. "We helped her find her mother." But now before she could finish, a loud commotion echoed from further down the corridor. Everyone's heads turned, alarm palpable in the air. Emma's stomach dropped, knowing that each sound carried the weight of fear, sorrow, and the unexpected twists of life and death. "Stay here," Michael instructed firmly, motioning to Emma. He stepped forward, positioning himself to join the team responding to the new crisis. Emma felt a knot uncoil within her as she watched him fade into the flurry of white coats. The connection strong and warm still lingered between them, despite the overwhelming chaos. "Can we help?" Clara urged, her own resolve shining through the mounting tension. Emma looked down at Lily, who was clutching her teddy bear tighter, her small face scrunched in worry. "What do we do?" she asked, concern edging her voice. "Maybe we could comfort those in the waiting area." "They're just as scared," Clara suggested, inspiring Emma. Together, they moved toward the anxious families waiting, each face mirroring their own fears and despair. "Hi there. My name's Emma, and this is my Aunt Clara," Emma said gently, kneeling down beside a worried couple. "What's happening?" The couple took a moment, their eyes filled with the weight of worry before they started explaining. While Emma listened, something within her started to shift, a deep realization that maybe this was her purpose. Not just to heal herself, but to help others find solace amidst their storms. Clara's hand rested on Emma's back, a silent promise between them, a bond forged anew. She felt warmth spreading through her heart, a spark igniting her soul. As time passed, the frenzied energy of the ER slowly settled. The families around them began to share their stories, their worries evolving into hopeful whispers. Emma felt tears pooling in her eyes, unable to hold back the swell of emotion as stories of love, loss, and resilience unfolded, and shortly after, the tension stretched, then snapped, as the doctor from earlier emerged, face illuminated by a smile. "Most patients are stable. We did it." A wave of relief washed over the room. Emma and Clara exchanged glances brimming with joy, even as the thoughts of life still hung like a poignant thread. "Can we see Emma's mom?" she asked quickly. The doctor nodded, and along with Lily, they raced back to her side. As she stepped into the room, there lay her mother, still, the machines softly beeping a familiar rhythm. Emma's heart raced. She took her mother's hand, heated but fragile. "I'm here," she whispered, choking back tears. "We're going to heal together. You have to keep fighting." And just like that, a flicker of movement, the barest twitch of her mother's fingers sent a charge through the air. Emma could feel hope swelling around them, threading through them like a lifeline, binding their stories. "Oh, Mom," Emma gasped, overwhelmed with joy. "You're here. I want to let you go. We'll face everything together." The door opened once more, revealing Michael and the doctor, grinning at the sight. More doctors rushed inside with optimism blooming, feeling the changing atmosphere. "Her heartbeat is stronger," the doctor announced, shining with a newfound energy. In that moment, Emma realized something monumental. The journey, filled with fear and uncertainty, had gifted her the most powerful weapon of all, hope. They could share burdens, heal together, and embrace the journey of rebuilding a family, side by side. In the following weeks, as her mother came home and environments blended into joyous familiarity again, Emma often turned to Clara, weaving tales of love, laughter, and new beginnings. Old scars transformed, replaced with new memories, healing their wounds through shared stories. Michael remained a steadfast presence. Through dinners and laughter, they built a bridge, his wealth now woven into the lives of those who needed it most, illuminating shadows once hidden. Emma smiled, her heart full as she realized their lives would continue intertwining. They had forged a new path filled with hope, purpose, and an unwavering spirit, teaching each other how to stand strong when life became too heavy to bear alone. and as they ventured into this new chapter together, Emma couldn't help but dream of a world where love overcomes. They had survived the storms, proving that even in the darkest nights, hope shines brightest when shared. This was just the beginning, and Emma felt herself ready to embrace every moment ahead. Now, join us in this incredible journey. You need to subscribe now to catch even more inspiring stories like this. Leave a like right now to fuel the algorithm and help spread this message of hope. Comment below to share your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to help them discover the power of hope.